Good morning, everybody. Wanted to talk a little bit about some insight that came through this morning about the cause and effect of the data that we've been receiving at a quantum level with the light codes and how they are affecting all of us, but also what's occurring during the shift. And to just kind of give us some perspective and some scope on the importance of what's been coming through for all of us. Encoded within our DNA is a sequence. It's a sequence that once that pathway gets opened up, right? So with light quotient, when our light quotient increases, the vibration on the planet increases. We hit this moment when there's a key that unlocks within us. And as a result, it calls forward an experience internally of transformation, of death and rebirth. And it creates this effect in our reality to create experiences to assist us in moving through whatever we need to detach from of our cellular programming. It's fascinating because what has occurred as a result of this transition that has been May and April too, so it was end of April and even into May, for me has been extremely catalytic. And a lot of events have occurred that have ignited a major clearing process within my own physical body, within my emotions, that's assisting me in the detachment. And while there's been this form of a recognition of punishment within myself, where I'm punishing myself, where I'm shaming, where I'm guilting, where I'm judging myself based upon past experiences and things of that nature, I am now recognizing that there's this coordination that's occurring with the higher self that's allowing these moments to unfold as catalytic change that occurred as a result of the keys that unlocked within me. The phrase coming through is, there's an escape plan that's encoded in our DNA. And it was interesting because I even sitting with that term, right, was like escape, like, it kind of made it a little bit more dramatic than what it was. But what it essentially was guiding me to realize within myself is that within me is this codex, and it's triggered off to go off at a certain time to assist in calling forward certain experiences that are going to accelerate rapid growth and change, to bring me to another level of divine surrender, and to open me up to another level of flow, to clear a lot of attachment, and to just continue to let go, right? So the piece of this, though, is to recognize that that which is encoded within us in our reality to move through as an experience is meant solely for us, right? So for some people it might be little events, right? And for others it might be more catalytic events, right? Each process is orchestrated perfectly with our universe, with our higher self, with our soul, to assist us at whatever level. And so the reminder right now is whatever you're going through right now, you're built for, right? And some of it for especially myself, is like, wow, like this is almost punishing to a level of, because I have these stretches of passageways that have been occurring in my reality since I woke up, and had my big catalytic awakening a few years back now, where there's a stretch period of maybe 2 to 3 months where a lot occurs that one might consider tragic or traumatic. And while I go through my process of unraveling, when this occurs, there's always a great expansion or a big reality shifting movement that occurs, right? And the thing coming forward is to recognize, first off, that I can handle everything that's coming my way. But also it's allowing me to let go of the storyline of punishment, but to also recognize that for catalytic growth and change, tragedy can occur however we want to view it, right? It's going to be different for everyone, but I'm speaking from my own life. Tragedy can occur to facilitate a grand emotional release, to detach from that old world and everything that represents it. So what it does is it frees up this space for me to connect more with recognizing that everything is me, assisting me, facilitating that growth and that shift, right? It's more of that universal expression, creating more space for the higher self to anchor here and now. And so then it's about trusting that pathway, right? Trusting that as the energetics occur, they come in, they anchor and unlock, that every experience is going to shift, and it is orchestrated perfectly, designed to assist me in receiving whatever I need to receive, whether it's insight, information, redirections, emotional clearing, a review of topics, narratives, stories, themes within my own life. It's just built perfectly, even if it doesn't feel like it. And so a lot of that process, right, is a completely being shut off from all facilities, all faculties, right? No mental faculties, no creative abilities, right? It's literally just a giant pause to be with nothing but with self and to shut everything down. It's like there's these corridors and passageways that I've built for myself to facilitate in giving me whatever I need to get at a human level so I can clear it and I can anchor more and embody more. Especially having a lot of fight and resistance, right? Blocking a lot of flow. Right now, the energetics are really assisting us in burning through everything that blocks us from flow at whatever level, whether it's an attachment to an ideology, a person, place, thing, or it's, at the end of the day, it's all just programming. But there's always representatives of that programming or the pathway or the timeline, however we want to view it, that is in our reality. And the universe is going to create space for us to highlight, to recognize, to dissolve, to let go, and to keep walking forward in our path as that pure love of soul self, higher self, and keep walking in the path as that. It requires a great level of trust in the codex that is within us, and when those keys unlock, to begin to work through what we need to work through as a part of the activation, right? First 3 letters of activation, act. So on one level, it's requiring action. Whether that action is stillness, it's emotional clearing, it's getting on the move, whatever that action is for us. But also, too, if we look at that, it's dissolving the act within us. It's dissolving the play, right? It's recognizing the themes, the narratives, the game that we chose to sign up for, so we can unravel it continually, layer after layer. But we can also come into greater harmony with ourselves, with our soul self, with our spark of source that exists within us. And so a lot of this passageway for me has been, look at everywhere that I have had tragedy occur in my reality, or trauma, and how I overcame my adversity. Now it's interesting because while we're on the pathway of dissolving the struggle, right? And I've been talking about a lot about this, is dissolving the struggle, finding more peace, harmony, and flow. When the tragedy occurs, right? Or when the shakeup occurs, it's to recognize that first off, for myself, that's what I called forward as an experience. I wrote into my pathway, unlocked within my DNA, to assist me in letting go really, really quickly, or in dissolving a lot. And also it's recognizing, we want to come into greater peace, harmony, and flow, and while those narratives that we're calling forward, an organic reality, ease, grace, joy, abundance, all of those beautiful things, that sometimes that's those events that we unlock for ourselves are what we need to really, really let go at an accelerated rate. And so the call is to not judge that we have that experience, especially when we wrote it in perfectly for ourselves, right? I would say for myself, I've been doing a lot of work, right? And so when I've been encountering these scenarios lately, I'm like, man, where am I writing this into my passageway, right? Well, first of all, I'm not getting the hint, right? There is an intuitive click within me, right? There is a little that occurred that was very subtle at some point in time that told me that this was something that needed to occur. And when I didn't take action on that intuitive notion, that really quiet, subtle voice that was telling me, hey, this isn't right, or you need to let this go, the more that I put that into the back of the cupboard, the universe had to bring that forward for myself because it was really important, even if it was just such a subtle voice, right? Sometimes the messages we get of the action steps we need to take in our reality, or the things that we need to see or do, sometimes are so subtle that we can almost put them aside, right? Because as soon as the intuitive notion comes in begins now the mental faculties that start to come in and go, well, no, yes, so that we start to go into the whole unraveling of the intellect, trying to discount that which was shown to us from deep within. And so then, as a result of all of that creation of that mental chatter, all the pathways, the storylines, a moment comes in to signal off a creation point to dissolve all that mental chatter and to return back to that intuitive knowing, right? It's a revelation of deep connection. A revelation of deep connection for course correction. Get us back into alignment, right? And when things are moving as fast as they are in the energetics right now, we really don't have a lot of time to attach to the storyline or what exactly is occurring. And this is where surrender occurs, where we just kind of melt into the experience and we let it unravel. And we know that there's going to be a moment in time when the light turns back on and we're feeling better. We expand back out. We're deeply connected, right? What's interesting about these transformative energies too is how us being the living light code keepers, how this extends out into the field and into everyone's lives that we touch, right? So the other insight coming through is that when this experience unlocks within you and you have this experience, everyone that observes and witnesses this experience for yourself, it creates some sort of shift and change within them, right? Whether they feel what you're going through and it reminds them of something within their lives that they need to let go of, or they witness the resilience within you and it activates bravery, courage, and strength and power within themselves, or it opens up their heart to greater compassion, right? Every action that we have is an activation for another individual as well. And that's how these changes and shifts occur at a quantum level. It's one of those where everyone that is a part at some level to your shift, it shifts them and it facilitates them. And it really, when I got this insight as I was on my morning stroll at the lake, it gave me this really beautiful observation of how important our pathway is and how it can shift and facilitate this grand change for everyone, right? Everyone that witnesses your beauty unlocks another level of their divine self within them. Everyone that witnesses your pain or your heartache, it's going to assist them at some level to have greater compassion or to remember their pain or their heartache, right? Every time you honor yourself and you say no to all those people that are relying upon you, all of their dependency and all their attachments going to come to the surface that they need to let go of. Every action sequence in our reality, whether it's to act or to be, is an activation for another individual as well. And that's a part of our role as the living light keepers, is the more that we begin to honor, right? We begin to show up. We even begin to reach out for assistance. Us taking that moment to reach out actually facilitates in a shift within another individual. Okay? Whether they're aware of it or not, it assists. And a part of this is because of quantum entanglement, right? And I think a lot of us have especially in these arenas, have a negative viewpoint on entanglement. But it's just the recognition that no matter the time or space or distance, the people that you engage with at a quantum level. There's always going to be a connection there. And so it's one of those that when we activate these sequences and we go through this experience, right, that creates a ripple through the quantum field that's going to facilitate in shifting the entire planet. And think about how your connection points and the people that you affect, how that affects all the people that they're around, and how we kind of begin to domino effect this web within our lives. And even the term web, right? Once again, it has this negative connotation, but it's just a recognition of the interconnection of the quantum field and of the quantum energetics, and how everything is facilitating us and how we can create change just by being in our process, right? I think sometimes, especially when we're in those moments of being uninspired or uncreative, right? Especially for those of us that are in creator roles and in different multidimensional creator roles, we feel like we're not inspiring, we're not doing anything, right? When we're just being. But then when we take a moment to zoom out and to get that insight about how honoring our emotions on our journey, how reaching out for assistance, how sharing our story with other people, how that creates a shift and a change, how you being your pure authentic light assists other people. It really does. And we may not see it right now, but it can be felt. And if you just take a moment to step back into that observer role, which is occurring through this shift, right? Clearing all the grief, clearing all the heartache, getting more expanded. That's a shift. That's assisting. The word that keeps wanting to come through is shifting. It's assisting and shifting the realities. And just know that we are climbing our way back up, right? So if you feel like that you've been beaten and bruised lately by the world, that's a part of the ascension, right? So when you get knocked down and you go through your process, whatever it might be, when you feel like you're taking a step back, you're actually taking a step forward. Okay. If you're stepping away from others so you can take care of yourself, you're actually ascending a lot faster than you might recognize. And so it's really interesting because while it might feel like things have slowed down for us, we're actually in an acceleration of clearing, right? These fires are burning all of the old within us. And sometimes it's literally just a process, and other times it's calling forward an experience in our reality that's going to assist us in clearing at a greater level. And that's what's occurring here. A lot has happened in the last 72 hours. But we recognize there's no loss, there's only gains. Gaining clarity, gaining insight, gaining momentum, gaining wisdom, gaining strength, gaining resilience, gaining love, gaining compassion, gaining reverence for the entire experience. We can respect the experience. We can respect each other. We can respect our process at a greater level now. We can also respect the power of what is occurring within all of us, and how that divine revelation is showing up here now today is going to have an effect on everyone for generations to come. And that's a beautiful thing. So let's keep clearing the contrast. Let's keep walking through the purification. And just know that we're being divinely held, divinely loved, and divinely supported here and now. Even if it doesn't feel like it. So I love you guys. Much love and respect to everyone out there. And I'll see you guys soon.